All right, good morning, guys. Okay, I just want to do a quick rundown on the project that I'm currently working on. I call it's my CloudMasters Hub application. So to start with, I want to deploy it on my home lab, which is my development environment where I want to build the application and then deploy it. I'm still deploying it on the same home lab for now. As a matter of fact, I've started working on it. The infrastructure it's already set in place. Let me just give you a few walk around how I'm going about this. The first is I have already built infrastructure, which is my home lab. I have a Kubernetes. I have some virtual machines running. I have a Kubernetes cluster with 5 nodes, one master or one control plane, and 4 worker nodes. So just to give you a sneak peek, if I go to just to see my virtual machines, VS less. Okay, now you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 virtual machines in my in my home lab in my environment. One of those is okay. I can start with the one of those is a SonarQube server which is running. The other one is a Jenkins server which I use for my automated deployment CI/CD pipeline. And the next one is the monitoring server where I'm implementing dual monitoring, Prometheus and Grafana, and also Datadog as for dual monitoring. Now, and my monitoring it's already set in place. It's scrapping let's say metrics from my infrastructure already. And today in this video, I don't want to demonstrate that. I just want to give you a sneak peek of what is going on yet here. So I have worker node 1 for I have one master node, worker node 2, worker node 3, and worker node 4. And I can scale this worker this based on workload on my environment. And that as well, I'm going to do automated scaling. Okay, like at the at the node level. Of course, with Kubernetes, auto scaling at the port level is horizontal port auto scaling is automatic based on load. Okay, so that said, I just want to give you a sneak peek. If you do kubectl get nodes, you can see my nodes are ready and working. Like I said earlier, the control plane. Just let me clear that. I know. Okay, you can see my master node and 4 worker nodes. So if I do kubectl get ports dash dash all dash name spaces, you can see all the ports that are running in all namespaces. Okay, so before I get to the okay, you can even see that my CloudMaster Hub has been configured as well. The deploy has been configured as well, has a namespace on its own, where this specific application will run in. So in this my lab, actually I'm going to be running multiple applications because it's a test environment, right? I'm deploying multiple applications. So each application is going to be housed or let's say separated from the rest and using namespaces, because by so doing, we're able to allocate resources and put limitations, all right? Now, all the applications are also going to be ingress through our ingress deployment here. Our ingress, okay, here, our ingress controller here. And we have Calico for networking within the cluster. And I have installed load balancing using MetalLB. That's going to handle the load balancing, working together with the ingress controller, right? Ingress controller for the internal load balancing and the MetalLB working on the external part. Okay, so that said, now I can now build and deploy any. This is like my home environment that has been set. I can now build and deploy any application on this infrastructure. Now currently, I've been working on this application. It's a CloudMaster Hub. It's an e-learning platform that I'm working on. It's an e-learning platform. I started, okay, I just did a rollback just to give you a sneak peek of what's happening. So that is it. You can look at, if I do ls back, you see that the backend does not have any code. You just have documentation and the Kubernetes deployment files that I've created already. It doesn't have any source code. It doesn't have any code yet for the backend, but it has documentation of what the application is supposed to entail. So if I do tree and I do backend, for example, tree backend, you see that inside tree backend, I just have the backend. This is just the database configuration, the configuration file, the database YAML file, and the deployment file. This is all you have there. And then documentation component, right? I've documented the whole application, technical architecture document. You have service integration document, project management document, like what are the different phases that I have to go through, or project management, okay, the general strategy for actually deploying. For example, one of the things documented here is the fact that I'm going to be using a microservice architecture for this backend, okay, and it's going to be Python based. So that's all you have for the backend. Subsequently, I'll document my progress on the backend as well. But for now, I just want to give you, okay, let's look at now the front end. So so the front end as well started with, if I do 3, I'll do 3 dash L, let's say 3, and then I'll do front end. So I just want to limit it to 3 levels. When I do 3 dash L, 3 level. So it basically has so the front end. Okay, so let me clean that up. Let me do it even better. So let's take 2 level. Let's not go too deep in the tree. Okay. So basically for the front end, we have our OD JSON, our Docker compose, our Docker file, our Docker file rather. We have the Jenkins file. Now, what I want to show you is that we started with just documentation. This is like the demo. This is like the documentation of the whole stuff. Footer feature, key interactive features, user flow diagram. So those are documentation. And then again, the second thing we started with was the mockup part. That gives you how the front end is going to look like and so on. So we started with both of these 2 files, and now we've been able to go to the level of deploying. We started with simply documenting the project. The whole project starts with documenting. So I think documenting kind of saves you a lot of time if you're working on an application, you want to build a project. Sitting down, it might take you a lot of time sitting down and documenting your whole project as well as the processes and so on. For example, if it's a microservice based application, what are the different microservices that this application is going to entail? What are the key services? Figure those out, document how are they going to interact together and so on. The maybe authentication service, the account service, the payment service, all of those things you have to take into account. List all those services, and then you can now start do a lot of the other documentation. Sit down and really think about how the application, the end product is going to look like. And when you have a bigger picture on there, you can now start working from the MVP, the minimum viable product. Think about now what are the basic features that it needs to start with. After you've thought on a bigger picture, you narrow it down to a more, let's say, lightweight version. What would a lightweight version, what are the features, or let's say the services that this application cannot do without? And then that will make up your MVP. Okay, that said, let me give you a sneak peek. At this point of the application, we're able to do we're able to run deployment. We're able to do automatic deployment, right? So like I said, I just did a rollback. So at this point, of course, I'm deploying the application on a domain name. I don't want to go into how all of the technicalities to getting all of that, but it is, I'm using Cloudflare tunnels, right? I do Cloudflare tunnel configuration to achieve this. So you can load the website from here. So for now, we are having some issues on the front end, which is what I've been working on for a while now. The front end, the issue is that it's not loading, it's not deploying. And if you look at my builds, if I go back to my Jenkins build, if I go back to Jenkins and go to, okay, this is the front end. Now you realize that we've had quite a couple of, okay, most of them are deleted now. We had quite a couple of builds. We are currently on build number 60. I kind of rolled back because I just rolled back because I wanted to give us a progressive, I was not documenting this in the first place. I want to give us a progressive workflow from where we started. Now at this point, we are getting all this, we are getting this blank page, right? Now, let me quickly advance the build. We are on build number, if you look at the screen now, we are on build number 60. You can see after 60, 61, 62, 63, all these builds we're trying to fix this error. The next builds, the builds that came up right after build number 60, where the objective was to fix the fact that our app is loading a blank screen here from 61, 62, 63. All right, let me deploy 61, and then we'll see. let me show you my deployment, my deployment file, my manifest file, right? So of course you can see it's the front end. It's deployed to the namespace, the dev namespace. The app name is the Masters Hub, the tier, front end tier. We're going to be working on the back end, but the goal of what I want to show you here is I am inside a VI file, right? Okay, I've run VI. So we want to change this build to where we image to, okay, you can see here, right here, I'm deploying build number 60. Now, like I showed you on the Jenkins dashboard, we have right up to build number 69, right? So which were us fixing the problem of the white screen. So at build number 61, normally we should have latest build here, right? But because I'm doing rollback so that we can see so that we can fix the problem, so that we can see how we progress through how the progress went from. Okay, so I'm going to do escape, column, write and quit. So after writing and quitting, okay, so guys, at this point we have successfully deployed our one page, only the initial dashboard, the home page, right? It's working currently. We have a couple of other pages that we need to add. So, but so far, nothing, no clicks, nothing is working. The pages are not linked to anything. We're going to add a couple of other things on the menu, and we'll add a footer as well. I think our next task will be to add those two things first, and then work on a couple other pages. So stay tuned as we make progress on the project. Okay. Yeah, stay tuned as we make progress on the project. No, I mean, there's no beauty to it yet, so stay tuned, guys. Okay, the last time we were reviewing, we were looking at the builds. We're looking at the various builds that we've achieved on this project so far. We are currently on the latest build, which is build number 69. And let's see the changes we have made so far. The last time we left, this is where we were. We just had 3 items on the menus. On the menu, we had no footer and we had no other sections. Okay, I'm going to refresh because we have finally deployed the latest build. And if you look at our manifest file, we are on latest build. We are running the latest build right now. So I'm going to refresh to see the updates that comes with our latest deployments. Okay. All right, so here we are. Now on our menu, we still have our logo, we have our home, we have courses, we have lab, we have community, we have pricing. Now you realize we have login and start or get started. Now you realize that we have moved our menu from the right to the center, and we've added this login and get started part here. Now here also we've done a few changes. You can see we now have start learning free, as well as we have view courses. Now, back down here, we have why choose CloudMasters Hub. We had this session already in our previous, so now we also have a full menu, a full footer rather, with I think what it's covering now. Okay, we have a footer. You can with a subscription mail here, session here. Stay up to date with the latest. Now we have this full-fledged footer right here. Okay, those are the few changes we have made, but of course, I'm going to navigate to the other pages with full navigation as well. We have our home, of course, is here. Courses, we have also started working on the courses. You will realize, okay, let me see courses. You realize that when you come to courses, there is no menu, there is no footer on the courses as well. And that's going to be the update for our, if you look at labs, these are labs as well, the lab section, but there's no menu, no footer, just the basic design for each of those. If I go to community as well, same thing, no footer, but with our sleek design. Pricing page, you can choose toggle between yearly and monthly pricing, no footer, and so on. So we're going to fix that aspect of footer. We're going to fix this part of the footer. Okay, so login. Of course, so when you log in, you see the demo user. We are now in as a demo user. You can look at profile. All of these things will be working on progressively. So, but if I go back to home, or let's say refresh the page, if I go to get started, it takes me there. If I go to start free, it takes me to pricing. So that's basically what we have currently, guys. So I'll be updating us as we move forward. Now, the next thing we want to tackle is making sure that all pages have menu and full navigation, right? Footer and header menu. Guys, now we do the next build, which is, we've done some commit build to paragraph. So we are on build number 71. And like we said previously, this build is supposed to, the changes we've done is to add a menu to each of these pages. Navigation, to add navigation to all the pages. But after this build, what we expect is to have, after this build, what we expect to do is to have all the navigation, for example, like we have for the home page, this menu is a footer, and the menu navigation for all pages. It has a stage of building the application. When you finish building the application, you'll go through push to Docker, push the Docker image, build and push to Docker. Then you'll go to a deployment. For SonarQube, we have not implemented SonarQube in our pipeline yet. So we'll give it a few minutes. Okay, so in a few seconds, we should have our application live. Now, so the good thing I like about setting up your infrastructure or building your development pipeline before making sure everything is working as far as your development pipeline and your development environment before building is that you just get to focus on the application features and not to worry on the infrastructure on which it's running. Okay, so yeah, we have a successful build at this point. Okay, I'm on courses, so I'll reload. I expect that the menu should appear on this page and the footer as well. Okay, and there we go, courses. Now we have menu, we have footer. So we expect it to be the same for all the pages. Lab, we have menu, footer. Pricing, we have menu and footer. Okay, that was our latest deployment, the latest push. Again, we don't have a backend yet for this application, so we are using mock data, which will represent the backend. So we don't have backend yet. So at this point, of course, like I showed you earlier, the backend is still just an empty repository with just documentation, still documenting on writing a lot of documentation on how it's going to look like. So we've achieved this. So this is how our lab is going to look like when you start the lab.